Right, I'm just gonna refer of the USA. This about the Junior Kennedy, right? The story is that I wanted to make a magazine, and I wanted to make a magazine that was based on advertisement of the perfume bottle that I created. It was back in the 80s, right? And there was a sort of, in the 80s in Europe were pretty open to West in a way. They were a bad economy, but people were Silicon Valley kind of way. They were trying to build like their own business. It's a good time actually. Even people, there was also different young groups, like you had the BC, the punks, you had minor right wing, you had disco queens, and I was actually a little bit of all. I traveled through a lot of environment, and I used to dance a lot with friends on discos. At the same time as I was farming, meaning that I was a sort of flash dance kind of thing that went back to my farm and went out in the night. So and I also met some of very dangerous people that were traveling through, and some of them got caught up and turned, right. And I worked, the DDR war came down, and I was victim of a hijack from Russia to Litauen, and I was a victim of terrorism breaking in that same period in the 80s, right? But this about the magazine was that I made some perfume designs. I come from architectural background and photo commercial background, and for me, making design is not the hardest thing. I later took a bachelor degree because I wanted to explore it a little bit. But I made some perfume and I named the perfume, and I actually thought that they were sold to the companies, but it turns out they weren't. They were probably sold to side companies, uh, in a way you could say copy market, right? But I want to have, at that time, I wanted to make a magazine that were financed by the perfume advertising, because I knew that magazine didn't make a lot of money. So I wanted to make the written staff was in a way employed by advertising from the perfume, so the construction was secure. And we named it Euroman because at that time there was at that time I actually thought European unity was a good idea. I don't think that any longer, but I did used to think that it was smart to have a big union where the trades were easy and so on. But it turned out to be a sort of almost like a free dinner for anybody who had the brains for it. So turns out there was a lot of crimes connected to the funds and all that. And I also thought that they were ignorant in the DDR war down and in Yugoslavia. I thought they acted stupid. So, and that magazine actually became a magazine. I had no control over the perfume or the magazine, but I was in London and actually met some people that are actors and also blue blood, and it was pretty tragic what was going on at that time. And we tried to figure something out to help, which didn't turn out to be any help at all because we couldn't do anything. And I actually agree about one of the Blue Broad comments on that was that it looks like he had a role in it, but became a problem. And I figured that also that if you try and help somebody who is in a high position, you might get very hurt. So basically, I think I was in London or Ireland, and there came a woman. I didn't know her, and I wasn't really. I was into the peacemaking of Northern Ireland, and I was busy and so on. And she showed me this magazine called George, and I didn't know about this magazine at all because I didn't follow the news in the United States. Not at that. I followed the Clinton, but I didn't follow, the celebrity news and stuff. So I didn't really know what it was about. And she came over to me and said, um, "What do you think about this magazine?" And I didn't know that it was Junior Kennedy. I just thought it was a British magazine. And I said, "Oh, it looks hopefully not something too embarrassed." And I did do something, so basically there is some connection, and I think actually that there is the connection of the older Kennedy on all of that with the state and Ireland and so on, which I digged in a little bit because they had revealed some new footage, and I also digged in my own case and found out that there's a lot of darker side of paparazzi, meaning that paparazzi might kidnap 3 children in Beaumont case. They might fucking kill the royal because it's so big news. And they might also cross Kennedy's twice, maybe. I don't know, but it's possible. So I was it's first in, 2015. I think it was much later I found out that Junior Kennedy had crashed his airplane. I didn't know about it. And I got a little shocked because it was like, what? And so I'm a little late in all of this. So I'm actually trying to comprehend it a little bit. And I also, when I see the interview of Junior Kennedy, I always feel a little comforted by, especially because he has a very tranquilizing voice. He has a very calm voice that if I'm getting really upset about something, assault on a network or something, that it's always like relaxing to. It's almost like, I don't know. He just has that effect about his voice is so calm. So it's not that I don't know the story. And I was also presented to the videos from the crew that found Junior Kennedy, and I actually saw him being dragged over the water, which thereby means that I'm supposed to not think anything else, I know all that. So it's sort of, traveling to a sort of memory lane maybe. When I'm looking at when in the 80s I had a lot of, I liked Simple Minds, I liked Sting and U2, but it changed a lot, and there was a lot of copyright problems and copy bands and stuff like that. So I don't know now. I don't think I would like them now, and I also think that even I was addressing them with lyrics and ideas, they never turned back. So in a way, I also reckon them as rude. I reckon them as really nobody to really, address really. So when I'm listening to old music, it's not because it's right now in 2022, it's because it's a memory lane in a way. I also saw a video from the diver that found Junior Kennedy, which were a little weird because he said that Junior Kennedy was talking, and I know he said something about angle or something, but I know because if you find people under water, there is always in water a movement, waves and stuff, stream, and sometimes it can always be like the talk, and also because water kind of preserve a little bit, so you find people that almost look like they're alive, and they're not. And that's, if you're into that kind of thing, it's no it's not scary if you kind of the scary thing, of course, is that they're dead or we're gonna miss them in some form. But I don't think that it's really scary now. There was a U-boat from Argentina gone missing, and there was a code spread out of the world to try and find it, because international seawater and stuff like that. And they had I think they hired an Indian diver team to go down and investigate. And I saw some of the videos from there, and the whole crew was sitting like they were in a bus, and looking almost alive. It was really weird. So so when I look at all the crime cases that I've been part in solving, or the missing person that happily were alive, if you are in this field, you cannot be afraid of crime. I'm not afraid of crime, and I'm not afraid of dying, dead people or something like that. What I am afraid of is people that's supposed to be trusted, like police or commune or government. If they fail, if they lie about disaster, air crash, water, stuff like that, if they lie, I get nervous, because that turned out to be really the least. If they lie in my son's case and Chris Stevenson's case, that's a tragic for me, because if I'm the only one that witnessed and I'm the only one survived, my son is here 1 hour a month, but I'm the only one that really know what was going on. And if a lot of media, again, the paparazzis and the government spin, kind of don't know they are supposed to say the truth. So for me, it's not that accidents occur and crimes occur, and they occur often because people don't have any choices. When an angry man, he beats his wife, or somebody drives too fast, it's often because they didn't have a choice to think different. They were kind of locked up in their anger or whatever. What we can do is to help each other. And that's maybe sometimes addressing that, excuse me, you are very aggressive. Maybe not in the outbreak, but if it's not dangerous for yourself, of course. But I think when people address me on the internet, they always think that I have a fling or an affair going on. But no. I'm 55 years old now, and for me it's a question about refunding. It's also a question about courting up some of the criminals that cheated me. And it's not about affairs. And if I go down memory lane, it's maybe just to get some kind of, good experience. And about the Junior Kennedy, I think when I was a child, I had a magazine from, I think it was one of the old US, like a big size magazine. And there was the picture of Junior Kennedy. Actually, it was pretty funny, because I seen the front pictures with a blue jacket and a red jacket, which is kind of funny that they changed color on the jacket. And I also think there's something about, my father was traveling in Greece, seawater, and also sailing a lot. So there is I always think that when I looked at film or video or picture of Junior Kennedy, that he had a small spasm, and he looked very, very vulnerable, and he looked very, very scared. And I looked over some pictures lately, and I'm right. He looks scared.